What if I told you that having nothing is actually your biggest advantage? Sounds crazy, right? But hear me out. Leonardo da Vinci was born illegitimate in 1452 in Italy. He couldn't attend university, couldn't learn Latin, had no formal education, no family name, no inheritance. By every measure, he started with absolutely nothing. Yet he became the greatest genius in human history. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying over 500 millionaires and discovered something shocking. Most of them started broke. No money, no connections, no advantages, just leverage what they built from zero. Here's what society won't tell you. You don't need money to build wealth. You don't need connections to create opportunities. You don't need a degree to become irreplaceable. You need something far more powerful, and you already have it. If you're starting from the bottom with nothing but ambition, type leverage in the comments, because what I'm about to share will completely change how you see your situation. Let's start with Da Vinci's first secret, the one thing nobody could take from him. Principle 1. Skill is the first leverage. Here's what keeps people stuck at the starting line. They think you need money to get ahead. I can't start a business. I have no capital. I can't get a better job. I don't have connections. I can't build anything. I have nothing. And so they wait. They wait for money that never comes. They wait for opportunities that never arrive. They wait for someone to hand them what they think they need. But here's the truth that'll set you free. You already have the most powerful leverage in existence. It's not in your bank account. It's not in your network. It's in your hands and your brain, the ability to build skill. Let me take you back to 1452 to a small village in Italy. A boy is born, illegitimate, a bastard child. In Renaissance Italy, that meant everything. He couldn't attend university. That privilege was reserved for legitimate sons of wealthy families. He couldn't even learn Latin, the language of the educated elite. By every measure of that society, he was born with nothing. No name, no status, no future. That boy was Leonardo da Vinci. But Leonardo had hands, and he had an obsession. At 14, he became an apprentice to Verrocchio, a master artist in Florence. While the sons of wealthy merchants studied philosophy and debated theories in comfortable classrooms, Leonardo was in the workshop 12 hours a day, drawing, painting, sculpting, mixing pigments, studying light and shadow until his eyes burned. He didn't have the money to buy his way to success. He didn't have connections to open doors. All he had was relentless, obsessive practice. And that skill, that deep, undeniable mastery, became leverage that money couldn't buy and connections couldn't match. By the time Leonardo was 30, he was painting masterpieces that wealthy patrons across Europe fought to commission. Dukes and kings begged for his time. Not because of who his father was, not because of the school he attended, but because his skill was so exceptional, so irreplaceable, it created its own gravity. Here's what most people miss. One deep skill beats money, connections, and credentials combined every single time. You can inherit money and lose it. You can have connections and waste them. But skill? Nobody can take that from you. Nobody can devalue it. It's permanent leverage that compounds with every hour you invest. So here's your path forward. Pick one skill that the market desperately needs right now. Maybe it's coding. Maybe it's copywriting. Maybe it's video editing or sales or graphic design. Just one. Then practice it obsessively, 2 hours every single day for 6 months. That's 360 hours. That's enough to go from beginner to intermediate mastery. Enough to start getting paid. Enough to build real leverage. And here's the key. Document your progress publicly. Share what you're learning. Show your work. Because as your skill grows, so does your visibility. So does your proof. So does your leverage. There's a beautiful story about an immigrant who arrived in America in 1920 with $20 in his pocket and not a word of English. But he was a master tailor. His hands could create suits that fit like they were painted on. Within 5 years, he'd built a $500,000 business because skill transcends language. Skill transcends money. Skill transcends status. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the wealthiest people in America, and he discovered this universal truth. Your brain is your greatest asset. Develop it obsessively and everything else follows. The leverage is already in your hands. The question is, are you willing to develop it? But that's just the obvious part. What I'm about to say is what makes the difference between having a skill and actually building wealth with it. Because there's a second form of leverage that costs nothing but creates everything, and most people are completely blind to it. Principle 2. Attention is modern currency. You've got the skill, you've put in the hours, you're actually good at something valuable. But here's where most people hit the wall. Nobody knows who I am. I have no platform, no audience, no voice. I'm invisible. And so that skill, that leverage you worked so hard to build, sits there unused, generating nothing, because nobody knows it exists. Here's what blows my mind. Leonardo da Vinci understood this problem 500 years ago, and he solved it with one brilliant move. In 1482, he wrote a letter to Ludovico Sforza, the Duke of Milan. But this wasn't some humble, please hire me letter. He listed 10 specific things he could do for the Duke. Design weapons, build bridges, create sculptures, paint portraits. He marketed himself. He made his skills visible. He captured attention, and it worked. The Duke hired him on the spot. Leonardo got housing, a steady income, and the freedom to create for 17 years, all because he understood that having a skill means nothing if nobody knows about it. Today, it's infinitely easier. You don't need access to a Duke. You don't need to wait for someone to discover you. You have something Leonardo never had: the internet. The ability to reach millions of people from your bedroom with nothing but a phone and an idea. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's the modern twist. Whatever you can teach and share, you can monetize. Because attention is the new currency. One viral post, one valuable video, one insightful thread that resonates with the right people. That's all it takes to shift from invisible to influential. The key is this: don't ask for attention, earn it by giving value first. Stop waiting for someone to give you a platform. Build your own. Teach what you know, share your journey, help people solve real problems. Be so valuable that attention flows to you naturally. Here's your move. Post one piece of valuable content every single day for 90 days straight. Not fluff, not selfies, not motivational quotes with sunset backgrounds. Real value. Teach a skill, share a lesson, break down a complex topic. Do it on whatever platform your ideal audience lives on. LinkedIn, X, YouTube, TikTok, doesn't matter. Just be consistent. The math is simple but powerful. 90 posts with just 1% engagement growth each time creates compound attention. After 90 days, you won't have millions of followers, but you will have an audience. Real people who know you, trust you, and value what you share. And that audience? That's leverage. Let me tell you about Marcus, a broke college dropout who couldn't afford to finish his computer science degree. He had coding skills but no credentials, no job prospects, no connections. So he started posting coding tutorials on YouTube. Every single day, short, helpful videos solving problems he'd struggled with himself. For the first 3 months, almost nobody watched. 10 views, 20 views, some days 5. His friends told him he was wasting his time, but he kept going. Month 4, one video hit, then another. By month 8, he had 50,000 subscribers. Companies started reaching out. One offered him a job. $120,000 a year, no degree required. They found him because of his content. Marcus told me something I'll never forget. I had no degree, no experience, no network, but I had attention. And attention opened every door that was supposed to be closed to someone like me. That's the power of the second leverage. In the attention economy, value given freely creates value received exponentially. Every post is a seed. Every video is an investment. Every piece of content is quietly building leverage in the background. The question isn't whether you have something valuable to share. You do. The question is, are you brave enough to share it? And what I'm about to say is what makes the difference between building an audience and building real wealth from it. Because attention alone isn't enough. There's a third form of leverage that turns attention into opportunity. And it's something you can start building today even if you know absolutely nobody. Principle 3. Network is net worth. Here's the excuse I hear constantly. I don't know anyone important. I have no connections. I'm invisible to successful people. How am I supposed to get ahead when I don't know anybody? And so people stay isolated, convinced that opportunity only comes to those who were born into the right circles. But that's the lie that keeps you trapped. Because here's the truth. You don't need to know important people. You need to become valuable to important people. There's a massive difference. Napoleon Hill spent 2 decades studying millionaires and uncovered one universal principle. No man can succeed without the cooperation of others. Not talent alone, not hard work alone. Success requires other people, partners, mentors, collaborators, champions. Your network determines your trajectory more than almost anything else. But here's where Da Vinci's story gets instructive again. He wasn't born with connections. He didn't come from a powerful family, but he built relationships with some of the most influential people in Europe. The Duke of Milan, Cesare Borgia, and King Francis I of France. How? He didn't ask for favors. He provided massive value first. He solved their problems. He made their lives better. He gave before he ever asked for anything in return. There's an ancient Jewish teaching that says, "He who finds a faithful friend finds a treasure." But finding that friend, that mentor, that partner, doesn't happen by accident. It happens through service. Here's the strategy that changes everything. Identify 5 people who are one level above where you want to be. Not billionaires, not celebrities, just people who are a few steps ahead on the path you're walking. Study their work, understand what they're building, then look for gaps, problems they have, challenges they're facing, things they need help with. Now create a solution. For free, no strings attached. Maybe it's a detailed analysis of their competitor's strategy. Maybe it's a design mock-up for a project they mentioned. Maybe it's an introduction to someone who could help them. Whatever it is, make it valuable. Make it thoughtful. Make it something that genuinely helps. Then send it with 0 expectation. I admire your work on X. I noticed you might benefit from Y. I created this for you. Hope it helps. No reply needed. That's it. No pitch, no ask, just pure value. Here's the math. Out of 5 people you do this for, maybe 2 will ignore you. Maybe 3 will respond with a quick thanks. But one will be genuinely impressed. One will remember you. One will reply, "This is incredible. Can we talk?" And that one relationship can change the entire trajectory of your life. Let me tell you about David, a 23-year-old kid with no connections, no fancy degree, just ambition and a work ethic. He identified 50 entrepreneurs he admired and sent them cold emails offering to manage their social media for free for 30 days. 50 emails. 47 ignored him completely. 3 said yes, figuring they had nothing to lose. David worked like his life depended on it because it did. He grew their audiences, created content, engaged with followers, and treated their accounts like they were his own billion-dollar companies. 2 of the 3 were mildly impressed. But one became his mentor, saw his potential, invested in his company years later. That single relationship turned into millions. David told me, "I had nothing to offer but work ethic and the willingness to give without asking. That was my entire strategy. And it worked because most people only want to take." That's the secret. Your network determines your net worth. But you build that network through service, not through asking. You earn relationships by making other people's lives better before you ever need anything from them. Wait, there's something you need to pay attention to if you don't want to lose everything. Because even with skills, attention, and a growing network, there's a 4th form of leverage hiding in plain sight that most people run from instead of running toward. And it's the difference between struggling for years and breaking through fast. Principle 4. Problems are hidden. Gold. Most people see problems as roadblocks, obstacles, reasons to quit. Something goes wrong and they think, "Why does this always happen to me? I can't catch a break. Everything's falling apart." And so they run from problems, avoid difficulty, choose the path of least resistance, and they stay broke doing it. But here's what separates those who build leverage from those who stay stuck. They see problems differently. They run toward problems instead of away from them, because every problem is hidden leverage waiting to be extracted. Leonardo da Vinci's greatest works didn't come from smooth sailing, they came from solving impossible problems. When he was commissioned to paint the Last Supper, the wall was damp. Traditional fresco technique wouldn't work. The paint wouldn't stick. Most artists would have made excuses, blamed the conditions, walked away. Leonardo? He invented an entirely new painting technique. The problem forced innovation that defined his legacy. When he tried to design flying machines, the physics didn't work, the materials weren't right. Gravity won every time. But instead of giving up, he studied birds for years, dissected them, drew their wings in obsessive detail. He never built a working airplane, but his notebooks laid the groundwork for aviation that came 4 centuries later. The problem became his masterpiece. Napoleon Hill documented this principle across 500 millionaires. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of equal or greater benefit. But here's the tragedy. Most people never look for the seed. They just see the adversity and give up. The biggest problems contain the biggest opportunities. Because if something is painful enough, frustrating enough, expensive enough, people will pay premium money to make it go away. Here's your leverage strategy. Make a list of 10 problems that genuinely frustrate you. Things that make you angry. Processes that waste your time. Products that break. Services that disappoint. Write them all down. Then pick the one that makes you most furious. Because if it bothers you that intensely, it's probably bothering thousands of other people too. Now research. Go to Reddit, forums, and product reviews. See if others are complaining about the same thing. If you find 1,000 or more people venting about this exact problem, congratulations, you just found gold. You found a pain point that people will pay to eliminate. Now create the solution. Maybe it's a product, maybe it's a service, maybe it's just content teaching people how to solve it themselves. Doesn't matter. Just be the person who addresses the pain. Let me tell you about Sarah, a new mother who was furious about nursing bras. Every single one she tried was either ugly, uncomfortable, or both. She vented to friends. They all agreed. She searched online and found thousands of women complaining about the exact same thing. That's when she realized, this isn't just my problem. This is everyone's problem. Sarah had zero fashion experience, zero business background, but she spent 6 months designing a better nursing bra, worked with manufacturers, launched on Kickstarter, raised $2 million, built a $50 million company solving a problem she personally lived through. She told me, I wasn't smarter than anyone else. I just refused to accept that this problem had no solution. The pain was my leverage. The frustration was my fuel. Every angry review I read was confirmation that I was onto something real. That's the principle. What irritates you is information. Pain points directly to profit. The problems you want to run from, those are the exact problems you should be running toward. Because hidden inside every one is leverage nobody else is willing to extract. But that's just the surface. What's behind it is what will startle people. Because even when you're solving problems and creating value, there's a ceiling you'll hit fast if you don't understand the 5th leverage principle. And it's the reason why some people work 80-hour weeks and stay broke, while others work 20 hours and build empires. Principle 5. Time leverage through systems. Here's the trap that destroys most ambitious people. They work harder than everyone else. 80-hour weeks, nights and weekends, grinding until they're exhausted, and they're still broke, still stuck, still can't get ahead. Because they're caught in the deadliest trap of all, trading time directly for money with no leverage. You only have 24 hours in a day. If your income requires you to personally show up, personally execute, personally handle everything, you've hit your ceiling before you even started. You can't scale yourself. You can't multiply your hours. You're trapped in a prison of your own making. Leonardo da Vinci understood this 500 years ago. He could never have created his masterpieces if he'd done everything himself. So he built a workshop, trained apprentices, systematized his processes. They mixed his paints, prepared his canvases, handled his clients, and managed the details. While they executed the system, Leonardo focused on the genius work only he could do. The final brushstrokes, the innovations, the vision. That's time leverage. That's the difference between working in your value and working on multiplying your value. Napoleon Hill documented this across every millionaire he studied. The way to develop self-confidence is to do the thing you fear and get a record of successful experiences behind you. But here's the part people miss. You don't build those experiences through brute force and endless hours. You build them through systems that work without you. Here's what you need to understand. Stop trading time for money directly. Start building systems that generate value whether you're working or sleeping. Automation, delegation, templates, processes, passive income streams, anything that decouples your time from your earnings. Let me give you something practical. Audit your week right now. Write down everything that takes up your time, every task, every responsibility, every hour. Now look at that list and ask, what's taking the most time that doesn't require my unique genius? Maybe it's answering the same customer questions over and over. Create an FAQ page or automated email sequence. Maybe it's scheduling meetings. Use Calendly. 2 minutes to set up saves 5 hours a week forever. Maybe it's researching, data entry, social media posting. Hire a virtual assistant on Upwork for $5 an hour to handle it. Here's the math that changes lives. If you can free up 5 hours a week through automation or delegation, that's 260 hours a year. That's 6.5 full work weeks you just bought back. Now use those hours to build real leverage, create products, develop skills, build relationships, solve bigger problems. I know a guy named Marcus who was working 100-hour work weeks building his consulting business. He was drowning, exhausted, on the edge of quitting. Then someone told him, "You're not building a business, you're building a job that owns you." That hit him hard. So he hired his first virtual assistant for $800 a month to handle emails, scheduling, research, invoicing, all the administrative work, eating his life. It felt expensive, scary. What if it didn't work? But here's what happened. That VA freed up 20 hours a week. Marcus used that time to land 3 new clients worth $15,000 a month. $100 investment, $15,000 return. Within 6 months, he had 3 VAs and had doubled his income while cutting his work hours in half. He told me something I'll never forget. Best $800 I ever spent. I wasn't buying help, I was buying back my time. And time invested in high-leverage activities creates exponential returns. That's the principle most people never learn. Rich people buy time, poor people sell time. The masterclass? They buy time specifically to build assets that generate income without their direct involvement. Your time is finite. Your leverage shouldn't be. It sounds simple, but the hardest part is what's about to be told next. Because even with systems freeing up your time, even with all this leverage building, there's one psychological barrier that keeps most people playing small forever. And it's the fear that's probably stopping you right now from making the move that could change everything. Principle 6, asymmetric bets and calculated risk. Here's the fear that paralyzes everyone, starting from nothing. I can't risk what little I have. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? What if it doesn't work? And so they play it safe, forever. They protect the little they have so carefully that they never build anything more. They die with the same nothing they started with, plus 40 years of regret. But here's what wealthy people understand that broke people don't. Not all risks are equal. There are stupid risks that can destroy you. And then there are asymmetric bets, where the downside is tiny but the upside is unlimited. That's where real leverage lives. Leonardo da Vinci made the ultimate asymmetric bet in 1482. He wrote that letter to the Duke of Milan, offering his services. What did it cost him? A piece of paper, some ink, maybe an hour of his time. What was the risk? Rejection. The Duke says no, and Leonardo is exactly where he started. No worse off. But the upside? 17 years of patronage, housing, steady income, freedom to create his greatest works, security for nearly 2 decades. He risked almost nothing and gained everything. That's asymmetric thinking. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years researching millionaires with zero guaranteed payoff. Andrew Carnegie promised him access but no money. Hill worked for free for 2 decades because he saw the asymmetric opportunity. Small-time investment for knowledge worth millions. He was right. That research became Think and Grow Rich, a book that's created more millionaires than any other in history. Most people can't see asymmetric opportunities because they're blinded by fear. They see any risk as dangerous. But look closer. Starting a side business with $100? Worst case, you lose $100 and learn valuable lessons. Best case, you replace your income and buy your freedom. Reaching out to a dream client or mentor? Worst case, they ignore you. You're exactly where you were. Best case, one email changes your entire trajectory, creating a digital product with only time investment. Worst case, nobody buys it, but you learn to create and market. Best case, passive income stream for years. The downside is tiny. The upside is potentially life-changing. Let me tell you about James. He was making $60,000 a year at a corporate job, decent money, safe and stable. But he had an idea for a software product. His friends told him he was crazy to risk his career. His family said he was being irresponsible. But James ran the asymmetric calculation. He said, worst case scenario, I give myself 6 months. If it fails completely, I'll go get another $60,000 job. The market for my skills isn't disappearing. I can recover that income within weeks. But best case, I built a $10 million company that gives me freedom forever. He was betting on the time he could recover against the upside that could change his family for generations. The risk wasn't symmetrical. It was massively skewed in his favor if he was willing to act. 3 years later, James sold that company for $8 million. $8 million. His friends who called him crazy? Still at the same jobs, same salaries, same complaints. James told me, everyone saw the risk. Nobody saw the asymmetry. I wasn't gambling. I was making the most mathematically sound bet of my life. Here's your move. Identify one asymmetric opportunity this month. Maybe it's starting that online business with a few $100s in startup costs. Maybe it's creating a digital product that costs only your time. Maybe it's reaching out to 10 people who could change your life. Costs you nothing but courage. Make the bet where losing hurts a little, but winning changes everything. The principle that transformed how I see risk. Fortune favors the bold who calculate, not those who gamble blindly or hide safely. Every successful person you admire made asymmetric bets when everyone else played it safe. Don't jump to conclusions, because what comes next can change your perspective completely. Because even with all these leverage principles, the skills, the attention, the network, the problem solving, the systems, the calculated risks, there's one final principle that separates those who build modest success from those who become completely irreplaceable. And it's simpler than you think. Principle 7. Become irreplaceable through a unique combination. Here's the insecurity that haunts most people. I'm average at everything. Nothing special. Completely replaceable. There are thousands of people who can do what I do, probably better than me. And so they accept mediocrity, convinced they'll never stand out, never be exceptional, never be worth premium money. But that's because they're thinking about leverage all wrong. They're trying to be the best at one thing, competing against millions in a crowded market. And that's a race most people can't win. Here's what Leonardo da Vinci understood that changed everything. He wasn't the best painter in Italy. Michelangelo could compete with him stroke for stroke. He wasn't the best engineer. Others designed better war machines, more practical inventions. He wasn't the best scientist. He lacked formal training, never published his research, and worked in isolation. But here's his genius, the combination. Artist plus engineer plus scientist plus inventor plus philosopher. Nobody else had that exact stack. Nobody else could move fluidly between painting the Mona Lisa, designing flying machines, studying human anatomy, and engineering city infrastructure. That unique combination made him irreplaceable. Not best at any one thing, but the only one who did all those things together. Napoleon Hill documented this principle across hundreds of millionaires. The most successful people combine seemingly unrelated skills into powerful advantages nobody else possesses. They don't compete in existing categories. They create new categories where they're the only option. Here's your leverage formula. Stack 3 complementary skills that nobody else combines. You don't need to be world-class at any single one. You just need to be the only person who brings these 3 specific things together. Pick skill number 1, something you're naturally good at. Pick skill number 2, something the market desperately needs. Pick skill number 3, something you genuinely enjoy. Now combine them into something nobody else offers. Examples: writing plus psychology plus marketing equals a copywriter who understands human behavior at a deep level. Coding plus design plus business knowledge equals a founder who can build products and actually sell them. Teaching plus video production plus finance equals a financial educator who makes complex topics engaging on YouTube. You're not competing with millions anymore. You're a category of one. Let me tell you about Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert. He's not the best artist. Plenty of people draw better. He's not the funniest comedian. There are funnier people doing stand-up. He's not the smartest business expert. MBAs know more theory than he does. But he combined decent drawing ability, decent humor, plus deep business knowledge from years in corporate America. That exact combination, nobody else had it. And it created a comic strip worth over $100 million because he was the only one who could satirize corporate life with that specific mix of artistic skill, comedic timing, and insider knowledge. Scott said something that changed how I see competition. Capitalism rewards things that are both rare and valuable. You make yourself rare by combining 2 or more pretty goods until no one else has your mix. It's much easier to be in the top 10% at 3 different things than to be in the top 1% at one thing. That's the final leverage principle. Don't compete in crowded markets trying to be the absolute best. Create a new category where you're the only option. Leverage isn't being best at one thing. It's being the only one who does your unique combination. Wait, the most important part is in the following story, and this will hit different. Here's what nobody tells you about leverage. Leonardo da Vinci died in 1519 with almost nothing. His paintings, many unfinished. His inventions, never built in his lifetime. His notebooks, scattered across Europe, unread for centuries. Many of his contemporaries considered him a failure. Too many projects, too distracted, too unconventional, never completing what he started. But 500 years later, the Mona Lisa is priceless. The Vitruvian Man is iconic worldwide. His notebooks inspired aviation, modern anatomy, and engineering marvels. The leverage he built, the skills, the knowledge, the unique combinations outlived him by centuries and created value he never witnessed. Napoleon Hill died relatively poor in 1970. He spent his entire life teaching others how to build wealth rather than building his own fortune. People called him a hypocrite. If you're so smart about money, why aren't you rich? But his book, Think and Grow Rich, has sold over 100 million copies. It's created more millionaires than any other book in human history. His leverage outlived him and continues compounding decades after his death. Here's the truth they never taught you. The leverage you build today might not pay off tomorrow. It might not pay off next year. It might not even pay off in your lifetime. But it will pay off. And when it does, it'll be bigger, more meaningful, more impactful than you ever imagined. So I'm asking you, are you willing to build leverage in silence, with no guarantee, with zero immediate payoff, trusting that the compound effect of skills, attention, networks, problem-solving, systems, asymmetric bets, and unique combinations will eventually create opportunities you can't even imagine today? That's the bet Da Vinci made. That's the bet Hill made. That's the bet every person who built something meaningful from nothing has made throughout history. The question isn't whether you have what it takes. You do. The question is, will you make the bet? Will you plant trees under whose shade you may never sit? Will you build leverage that might take years to pay off, but will compound forever once it does? Because here's what I know for certain. The world is desperate for what only you can create with your unique combination of skills, experiences, and perspective. Somewhere out there, someone needs exactly what you're capable of building, and the only way they'll ever find it is if you start building it today. So what's it going to be? Now you understand the 7 leverage principles that transformed peasants into masters and broke dreamers into millionaires. Leonardo da Vinci had nothing. No name, no money, no formal education. Napoleon Hill started with just a mission and 20 years of unpaid work. Yet they built leverage that literally changed the world. Here's what I need you to do right now. Pick one principle. Not all 7, just one. Maybe it's building that deep skill with 2 hours of daily practice. Maybe it's posting valuable content for 90 days straight. Maybe it's making your first asymmetric bet this week. Start today, not tomorrow, today. Because leverage compounds, and every day you wait is compound interest you're losing forever. Comment leverage if you're ready to build something extraordinary from nothing. And tell me, which principle are you starting with? What's your first move? I want to know your plan. Remember this, having nothing isn't a disadvantage, it's a blank canvas. Da Vinci proved it 500 years ago. Hill documented it across generations. Now you know the formula. The only question left is, what will you create? Your masterpiece is waiting. Start building your leverage today, because the world desperately needs what only you can create.